Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Western Balkan Demo Day in our fall edition of 23. Welcome to the We Founders podcast that I host at every Western Balkan Demo Day. I'm really, really happy to be talking to Nevena today from UN Women. We are joining forces with UN Women as the UN agency is recognizing more strongly every day how important it is to harness the power of entrepreneurship through women, and in this way achieve a lot more of the gender equality that we want to see in the world. So I'm really, really excited to be entertaining a conversation with Nevena, which has been ongoing and which will actually last a lot longer than 20 minutes, but this is just a snapshot, and it's to very much introduce all of our activities and collaboration in practice from now onwards. So I will not take much longer. I would like to leave us a lot more space for the discussion as an introduction. And then everybody else can introduce themselves and go forward with the program and the pitches. So Nevena, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, the ones that we've been really actually wrapping our heads around in the past months together, and that are actually very much shaping our actions together. And so tell us a little bit more how it is so important for you and women to support women in businesses, and what is the objective, what is the impact that you and women aims for at having more women entrepreneurs to start, fund, and grow their businesses, both in Serbia and more in other geographies as well, in the Balkans and so on and so forth.
Okay, so can you hear me, just to check?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Gaia, for inviting me on behalf of the UN Women. We really appreciate to be part of this amazing event. This is actually the first time for us to be here on this event, and I'm sure that this is just a beginning of our partnership, as you announced. Before I start, maybe I can just say a few words about the UN Women, since, well, basically we are an international organization that is here in Serbia working for a longer period of time, and we are part of a regional network, regional office that is covering Europe and Central Asia. And actually, we in Serbia are covering several areas: leadership and governance, women economic empowerment, and also ending violence against women and girls. And for us, we are working with the governmental institutions, but also with the non-governmental partners. So with governmental institutions, we are working on the policy level. We are trying to somehow support them to develop laws, strategic and legal framework in this area, but also as the gender equality is a kind of cross-cutting issue, we are also supporting them to integrate gender equality into the different policies and practices. On the other hand, with the women organizations, women entrepreneurs, and also local authorities, we are working on the ground. And based on their needs and also challenges faced in the local community, we are actually supporting them in implementing that initiatives and changing the lives of women in different areas, in particular in some more devastated areas of Serbia, and of course working with women that are vulnerable groups. So when it comes to the supporting women and women businesses, we, of course, apart from the clear economic benefit, basically what we learn from the ground, but also what is, I think, most recommendation from every study that has been prepared on this topic is that the added value of investing in women business is a social impact that those businesses have. So when women entrepreneurs, when they succeed, they are more likely to invest back into their families, into the community. And what is also important to say that their businesses are more likely to provide the necessary services to the community. And last year, law on social entrepreneurship has been adopted in Serbia. And so now this topic is high on the agenda, and there are numerous studies also showing us that women are mostly running those social enterprises, and because they really do want to have the social impact on the society. So when it comes to how we do and what we do with to support women-owned businesses, so we actually somehow are trying to provide them a kind of package of support because for women to start a business, it is much more difficult rather than men. I also had a chance to see some of your older podcasts and listen to some of the women that are now successful, but they all have something in common, and that is how hard it was for them to start a business because of the stereotypes that exist not just in the environment but also within their families. So when you are a woman, you have additional questions like, should you think again? Should you perhaps establish a family and then establish the business? Or should you need additional education? Would you be able to do that? So in that sense, when a woman wants to establish a business, she has a much more time and energy to invest in order to do that. And especially when we speak about women that are from marginalized groups or from rural areas that are mostly targeted with our support. And that is why we somehow try to provide them with kind of educational packages, support packages that are combining different services like education, mentoring, assistance, and direct support in terms of developing business plan and also, or for example, procurement of equipment, depending on the type of business. That is very important because especially in the early stages, and of course, depending on the level of vulnerability, women are, if I can say, prone to drop out. So in that sense, through the mentoring assistance and also having some women leaders that can motivate them additionally, we are trying to somehow support them and to stay on that road and to support them in developing further their skills and eventually establishing a business. We are trying, because we are not providing grants to women entrepreneurs. We are providing it to women civil society organizations, but not to the entrepreneurs. But we are trying to combine our support with the support that is already available in the local community. For example, support provided by the National Employment Service in terms of subsidies, or even some local self-governments have introduced specific measures to supporting women entrepreneurship. So we are trying to match our support to be a kind of complementary. So if women wants to, for example, apply for the National Employment Service subsidy, we are supporting them in developing the necessary business plan, because that is a precondition.
Let me just stop you right there for a second so that we can actually go into a lot of actually the information that you've provided us. And it already shows how it is a perfect match for us to work together as practice-based organization, because you provide from one end a lot of the database on which we then apply, right,
Mhm.
our solutions and support. And on the other hand, you can actually institutionalize, mainstream the measures and the policy that come out of our work, right? So it's actually that perfect sort of partnership from that perspective. But if we look at that, you know, what is it that is maybe specific to Serbia, or what is it that makes Serbia similar, right, to the other geographies where UN Women supports women, in terms of the position of women entrepreneurs, in terms of some indicators that actually tell us what kind of intervention is prioritized here in Serbia? Why, if you can just tell us from your knowledge about that.
Yes, this is actually a simple but hard question, because there are a lot of different indicators. But maybe I can start with something that is a kind of common for our Western Balkan region, and that is, I already mentioned, these gender-based stereotypes that are root causes of everything, of having a women if you look at the different sectors, women are mostly in a bad position compared to a man. So, and that is why we started to analyze that from different angles. And the one thing that is interesting to mention here is this unpaid care work. It is also because it is also related to the position of women entrepreneurs as well. But we, in 2020, we actually did this analysis on the economic value of unpaid care work in Serbia. And the analysis confirmed that, of course, women bear this burden of unpaid care work much more than a man. But what is interesting here to mention is that because of that, they are actually missing monthly net salary. At that time, it was in the amount of 550 euros, which was actually the average salary, average monthly salary in Serbia. Now, I really think that the number is much higher. But on top of that, the total annual value of the unpaid work within the household in Serbia is actually 21.5% of our GDP, which is really a huge problem. So we can see how basically, based on the stereotypes and the traditional roles, that women should not be economically active, that she should stay in a household and take care about the household, about the kids or some elderly members. Because of all of that, we are actually, as a society, losing a lot. And on the other hand, the other thing that is also interesting to mention is stereotypes related to heritage and disposal of property. We were amazed when we found out that 44% of women, they resign their right to property. And even though, based on the law, we have all the same the same rights. The tradition is actually the thing that is here dominant. And if women resign her rights, she is automatically becoming economically dependent member of the family. And on top of that, based on the law on social protection, she is also a person that resigns his or her right cannot use financial social assistance in the period in which he or she could have enjoyed the profit from that inheritance. So last year, when we organized one conference in Serbia regarding this issue, we actually met a lot of women that lose everything, and some of them didn't have the access to the financial social assistance because of sister renouncing her right in favor of a brother and not being able then to have anything to support her in her life, and to be a kind of economic to be something that she could use not just for starting a business, but to basically have something, having the possibility to enter into the labor market. And when we speak about women entrepreneurs, so we recently published a study on women entrepreneurship, and that study was also done in partnership with the Ministry of Economy and new delegation to Serbia. And we can say that in Serbia, 30% of women's businesses counts for a total number of businesses. But what is alarming thing is that we are having that our women entrepreneurs are older, and that there is extremely small share of young women among them. So only 4.5%. So that is really alarming thing. But the good thing is that our women, our businesses, women's entrepreneurship, they are slightly somehow moving from these traditional sectors like trade and hospitality services, and they are entering into the more ICT sector, so science, innovation, technological activities. So we have some positive changes and of course some negative changes, and we identify different weaknesses that we can jointly actually in partnership use, and in our future joint intervention we can actually use it to build our area, to build our activities. So we found out from the research that a large number of women entrepreneurs is not investing enough into the educational skills. So small percentage attending trainings, due to the not having the time or not having financial resources. Also, they are not innovating, and they are not having the climate change and the environment. You said that is actually one of the key area of Impact Hub. So that is the area that women entrepreneurs have little knowledge, and also they do not see potential for transition to green economy, which are all something that we should use, having in mind that the priorities that have been set at the level of the EU. Also, dependence on the local markets. It is something that is characterized by the women-owned businesses, and again, not using enough assistance that is already in place, and relying on some internal financial resources from family or friends when they want to start a business. And of course, again, this balancing of personal life and professional life is always a challenge when we speak about women-owned businesses. And I think that the situation can be replicated in the Western Balkan region, because we are really having similar environments. So,
thank you, Nevena. Well, we have representatives here, I think, today from the other Western Balkan countries. So, during the networking session, maybe you can all actually share a lot more about your particular experiences in terms of women businesses and their support. But you've touched upon so many key points. There's so much to talk about all of that. And on one hand, while there's a definite need to have more women entrepreneurs starting their businesses, their startups, their economic activity, going beyond all of the barriers that they are facing today, first and foremost, actually, how they have to abide to their roles as mothers or as caretakers first, and then they can do everything else, right? And then take care of everything at the same time. As you were saying, there's also a very big need to support women already in businesses who you mentioned, to take more decision-making roles, so that actually they can bring back the knowledge, the resources. They can be investors into the younger women entrepreneurs that are coming up, right? And provide that support that is not there for them at that time. In those terms, I know, Nevena, that UN Women has a beautiful initiative, which is the Expo. And I believe it's the second year of implementation. It's a regional initiative. And maybe you have seen actually some successful examples of what we're talking about in terms of both established businesses led by women and new women entrepreneurs.
So thank you for mentioning our initiative. So we actually, this is, as you mentioned, the second year of this initiative, and we are actually, in July, we started again. And the idea behind that is actually to create a kind of unique partnership platform to support, of course, women's entrepreneurship, and covering this region, Europe and Central Asia, which includes, of course, Western Balkan countries. And we actually, with this initiative, want to provide a kind of interactive space for women entrepreneurs, but also investors and private sector representatives to actually have the space for networking, for peer learning, for exchange of ideas, capacity building, and of course, business development. And that is why, with this initiative, we also want to raise visibility of women entrepreneurship, and also somehow to stimulate more, I can say, supply chains, marketplaces that are more inclusive and that are more supporting women-owned businesses. And this expo, new expo phase, I call it like that, but new year has just been kicked off, and we are having now the call for applications, and it is open by the 10th of September. So I can just invite women entrepreneurs that are here present to apply, and everyone can participate, either entrepreneurs that are having minimum valuable product, or the ones that are in the early stage or growth stage, and from every sector of economy, because we want to provide for all women, possibility to participate. Of course, at the later stage, there will be some kind of selection, but the whole process is actually, apart from this, after this selection process, we have the phase where we call boot camp, where we are providing workshops for women entrepreneurs in cooperation with our partners, and we have the top topics are selected based on the preferral of the women. So now in the application process, they already are asked on the topics for the workshops that they prefer. Last year we have effective pricing, key aspects of business plan, branding, digital marketing, and we have more than 200 women that joined these boot camps that were hosted by the PricewaterhouseCoopers. And one of the key events is actually the regional event. It is online event happening on 16th and 17th of November, and we actually want to and every woman that applies will have the access. And apart from different learning opportunities, some of the women will be able to showcase their products. So there will be online expo booths. And the last year we have 16 sessions, and of course topics that were again selected by the women, like strategic management, access to finance, access to marketing. Always we have these inspiring stories by women entrepreneurs from the region. And last year we had more than 200 booths for the women entrepreneurs. The phase 4 and 5 are mentoring, and where there were 5 women from each country will have the possibility to have mentoring assistance, facilitated mentoring support, preparing them for the final event, which is actually a pitching session. where we will select 2, and they will from each country will actually participate at the final event, which is Expo Capital Quest, and they will be able to present their business to investors. And we will have it probably in June next year. This year it was in Istanbul. Next year we will see where it will be. But this proved to be very based on the, of course, women entrepreneurs and their feedback that we received. This proved to be very for them very good experience. Not just they had a possibility to network between each other, but the whole mentoring assistance and the pitching supported them to, I can say, not better understand the business in terms of the what they need additionally to grow. And for us, on the other hand, it was a kind of learning opportunity, since this was last year. It was the first event that we organized of this kind. So the thing that is important to mention about the whole this expo story is it is a partnership platform. So this is something that we offer, but again, this is not something that is closed. We want to build additional partnerships so that we can extend even more support for women entrepreneurs. That is of course free. So it is free for all women that apply and that would like to participate in this whole story. So we can in Serbia or all other Western Balkan countries, we can develop we can develop sub-activities based on this concept and develop it further based on the concrete needs of the women entrepreneurs that apply. So in that sense, this is actually a possibility, an opportunity for us to further develop the cooperation, our joint cooperation.
Thank you, Nevena. So let's take that opportunity and really let's hope to have expos spread out throughout the Western Balkans and the region closer to us, and to see a lot more women entrepreneurs participating. I think we're running out of time. I see signs everywhere here. So I'm going to thank you so much, Nevena, for your participation and for all the relevant information that you share with us. This is only the beginning, as we said. So I'm really, really proud of the fact that we are joined into bringing more women-led businesses and startups to success. Let's get to work. And with that said, I'm going to say hello and good luck to everybody. Thank the jury a lot for being here and helping the founders move to their next steps. Thank you so much. And back to you now.